if you had a movie, right?
Yeah.
Let's say we had this movie. We're going to make this movie.
Right.
What would you do to, one, raise the money, two, let the people at least have a chance to get their money back? Because you can't just get people to give money, some stupid GoFundMe thing where they're not getting their money back. Why? To have your name at the end of a list of 80 names at the credits. So what would you theoretically do? You probably shouldn't even tell me because somebody else will end up doing it. But you know what I mean?
You'd have to kidnap Joe Rogan's dog or something and then get, you know what I mean? I was going to say you would kidnap Bert Kreischer's family, but that would have been like Ransom of the Red Chief.
But even Bert Kreischer, Joe Rogan.
He would have been like, no, I'm going to kill your family. Give me money. Bert's going to go, all right, no. Tuscaloosa. We're going to Ohio. See you in Grand Rapids.
But I'm saying, let's say even Joe Rogan or Bert Kreischer, if they gave you the money, how would they get their money back?
The problem is getting the money. Here's the problem with movies. They cost so much fucking money to make.
Yeah, they do.
And distribution's weird because people aren't buying things online the way they used to. People are used to subscribing to things like HBO Go or Netflix or Paramount. They're not used to an individual purchase the way they would be, maybe 10 years ago, the way they bought music on iTunes. Now they have Apple Music, which is a subscription. That's one of the problems with it because you can't know how many people will buy something and you can't know how you're going to make your money back. I think the hope would be that after you made the movie, you would license it to a Hulu, Netflix, something like that.
Yeah, but that's depressing.
It's very depressing.
I mean, it's so, licensing it. It's like you do all this stuff, and then the investors. And by the way, investors always it's hard for them to get their money back once it goes into those machines. And that's the other problem. You don't want to screw people out of their money like that.
It's difficult because like with podcasts, people have proven they can do late night shows on their own. They go, oh, I can basically do and get the audience that Kimmel or Fallon or Colbert gets. With sketches online, people have proven they can do a version of what SNL does. They go, I can make comedy sketches. People can, digest them and love them and subscribe to other things I'm doing. But with movies, and similarly with episodic TV, it's very, very difficult. You can't make a Succession on your own. You can't make a Game of Thrones on your own. These are difficult things. These are massive, big budget productions with hundreds of people, top-notch talent. It's difficult. That's why those companies still dominate that particular genre of entertainment.
But I don't think that's why, because Succession, Game of Thrones are great. But when they're making, it's because they promote what they want and they have the power to control what people are saying.
That's right.
So, for example, a movie like Mean Streets from 1973, at that time, a low budget, God knows what the budget was then.
Right.
But that kind of quality, you can't just buy, they can't make those. They don't understand how to make a funny movie of that genre. They don't understand. So I'm just saying, you can make, in my opinion, funny movies that are low budget because we're not trying to dazzle them with visuals. You can make
low budget, but you got to wonder how you get your money out of it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the question.
That's how I started this conversation.
That's the
really, I don't know why you're suddenly acting like you're asking me.
No, but it's hard. You're right. I don't have an answer.
Oh, I thought you did because of the mortgage thing.
If 20,000 people buy a movie for $10,
that's not enough.
That's not going to be. If 50,000 people buy it for $10, that's $500,000.
That's nothing.
So now 100,000 people buy it for $10. That's $1 million. And that's a lot of people buying. Right. It's still not enough.
Let me tell you. So let's say you had a movie, okay? Theoretically. Let's say you had a movie, like one of my movies. You, Chris DiStefano, Andrew Schultz, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you guys are in this movie.
Yes.
Now you will promote it on your podcast as part of the thing.
Yeah.
That's where we go for promotion.
Yes.
No one's going to help. No one's going to promote. And then you go on other people's podcasts and they resentfully promote it because they're like, why wasn't I in it?
Right.
So they give you a little passive aggressive.
Yeah.
So it's you three guys promoting. How many people do you think you could get to buy it between you three?
It's the big question mark because it's a big question mark because you could look at all of the numbers and say it should be a certain percentage of the amount of people you have. but you don't know until it's out there
Right.
and how it's received.
Well,
And-
yeah, it has to be great.
Well, it has to be great and people have to love it and it's got to connect and people have to buy it and they have to keep watching it and keep talking about it. It's like all of that's tough. It's hard to know. Whereas if like people buy ads based on a podcast when they go, let's say this guy's got a million or 2 million listeners, a percentage of them will click the link and buy the product. You could try that with a movie and say, well, if all add up all the listeners they have or fans they have, or look at ticket sales, look whatever, look at email lists. Still, who buys it? That's the big question.
But that's the other thing, because look, even when I did Cop Show, right? Cop Show
Yes.
was internet thing, funny, really for everybody. I did everything right. It was all funny. Every episode's funny. Got all these celebrities at the time to be in it. Every episode. It's still no eyes.
Right.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Because it's difficult, even though something can be quality.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get it. Like right now, the biggest things that I saw go viral were things that were initially things that people like hated or didn't like. Lil Nas X, that song Old Town Road, it was kind of like, it came out, it was kind of like a joke. Then people were like, hey, it's kind of catchy. It's actually kind of good. Then he became massively famous. A lot of things start as like this. Like I would think if we did a movie like this, we'd have to come up with a marketing campaign. And this is where you go to Schultz because he's brilliant with stuff like this. And we could all figure it out. But you'd have to come up with a marketing campaign where the people like Blair Witch Project came out. People were like, is this found footage? Is this real?
Right.
Maybe it is. Now, obviously, no one's going to think that's not the angle we use because we're all known as comedians. We still have to find a marketing angle, and Bert Kreischer's brilliant with this too, that really gets eyeballs on this thing.
Right.
That's the challenge.
You're
That's hard. It's you put all the work, like every comedian, you put a lot of it into the thing you're doing.
Sure.
But then there's a whole other, which I'm okay at. I'm not nearly as good as other people. There's a whole other job of getting people to see it.
Yeah.
Figuring out how I would hire the trans girl, that Dillon Mulvaney from Bud Light.
Yes.
I'd hire her.
Yeah.
I would hire Dillon Mulvaney to promote the film in the most grotesque way. I don't even mean like Bud Light. She's just there with the can and she's going, I love beer. I would have her beating her dick with a hammer just to get attention.
Yeah.
Just to get any attention. You need to kind of do something like that. Controversial. People got to be angry.
Yeah.
They got to be mad. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Cop Show's just a really funny, good thing.
Yeah.
That's tough.
You're right. People have to be angry.
They have to kind of be enraged.
Well, what about this?
Yes.
We get when we're filming,
Right.
we have a camera that's a rogue renegade camera. We have nothing to do with it.
Right.
One of the cameramen's just crazy. you know?
Right.
And he catches DeStefano and Dillon Mulvaney like blowing each other.
And that's believable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And back behind the scenes. And then 2 days later, when people get bored of that, we have Stefano trying to strangle Dillon Mulvaney.
Right. He's got to hit her, too. That makes sense. Yeah, there's got to be violence as well.
Because we were going to do it, yeah. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, and she'd be up for it. We'd call her agent. I mean, she'll do anything. But it needs to be something like that. As much as we kid, without that type of controversy, people, it's just because there's so much shit out there now.
That's what it is. It's saturated.
YouTube is so big. My uncle just watches fishing on YouTube.
Yeah.
There are people, and he just watches that.
Yeah.
He just watches like to get to him, you have to get that. You have to somehow puncture that community, the bass boat community. Someone there's got to go, this movie's really funny. Like everybody's in their own micro community right now.